So I know you guys sent me some questions, or Miss Birch did, a week ago, and I apologize for it taking me so long to get this put together. I actually put some questions down on paper that I thought would come up when I was supposed to make the visit to the school previously, and since I wasn't going to be there and didn't anticipate getting those questions from y'all via email, I thought I would try and pin down some general questions that you might ask. So we'll go through those, kind of give you a little bit of insight into how I approach, whether it's meeting with a landowner for the first time, looking at the timber, my thoughts behind how we manage it, just some general concepts for you. So the first question was, why is it important to practice good stewardship or good forest management? And without getting into too much of the science behind it, the importance of managing forest resources properly is so that we can maintain a good basis of this renewable resource. I don't know if you guys study that too much, but if you know much about non-renewable resources like coal, gas, diamonds, it's a resource that we can't create enough of it to compensate for the amount we use over a lifetime. So if we sustainably manage the forest, manage or steward the environment, the ecosystem that we have currently, we can actually propagate those resources into the future so that there is enough for us, for our children and grandchildren. We can rely on them for energy, shelter, food for quite some time into the future. If we manage them improperly, then they may unfortunately become non-renewable, at least in technical terms. So another question I thought you guys might have is, you might wonder why we actually harvest the trees. It kind of seems like a shame to cut down all those big, beautiful trees. It doesn't leave a particularly pretty mess behind. And they definitely are such an important part of the natural world around us that we can enjoy aesthetically or visually. To that, I would probably tell you, like I tell most of the folks I meet with, without harvesting that timber, those large trees will eventually die on their own or come down in a natural disaster similar to the tornado that went through the property there at the school, and possibly through some of the property that you or your parents or grandparents own as well. If a natural disaster doesn't occur, oftentimes those trees will die, one at a time or two at a time, and it tends not to be visible or something that we notice right up front, but it's still going on behind the scenes, and you're losing a great deal of value, whether that's aesthetic value or monetary value when that occurs. So you guys actually witnessed what I would say is a pretty common event there with the tornado, unfortunately. So the purpose behind sustainably harvesting this timber, which is what we typically, how we typically approach timber harvest. I mean, occasionally there's some outliers that where we do a harvest to clear the land for someone, but the purpose behind sustainably harvesting those is to prevent the waste that's produced over time, whether it's when the trees die individually, singly, or in aggregate through these natural disasters. The wood that makes up these trees goes into whether it's housing or energy, the creation of heat and energy that's produced thereby. Some of it even goes into food products, packaging, shipping, toilet paper, even your table and chairs at your house. And so we like to be able to prevent that waste by sustainably harvesting those larger, more mature trees, or those that have been damaged or even destroyed. We want to prevent that and put that material to a good use. Along with those thoughts, one of the things that we like to consider, and it's especially for you guys, actually it's very important for y'all, being the next generation, if we remove those older trees that are filling the canopy, or that upper layer of the forest, we're able to reallocate or redistribute the nutrients down to the younger trees. So just like unfortunately maybe older people pass away, maybe like corn, when you harvest the crops off the field, you can't plant corn underneath other corn. You have to remove that older layer, that older growth, to produce new growth. And so we like to harvest in such a way that we can produce better, higher quality growth for the future, and thereby have timber for hopefully years to come.